What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Have another knife from Alex over at the Knife Box channel. And this is a real steel, as you can see. It is the Phasma, and this is serial number 3. I don't know how many they were making of this particular variant. And it comes with a nice patch, which is cool. And Alex, of course, could not buy the boner model. Right? Because it's Alex, and I don't blame him. Okay? There is a true EDC budget-friendly version of this, and it's about $68, $69, which comes with stainless steel liners and a steel clip and, no inlays and a D2 blade. And they also made some in M390, which I think costs a little bit more. And then they made some of these. And these ones were like $4.99, but they're kind of on sale for $2.99, I guess. And there are still some of these available. I just went to the Real Steel website before I started filming just to double check a couple of my things. And they still had some available. So I don't know how many they made of the fancier semi-custom. I don't even know if I'm going to go that far, but I don't know how many they made of the fancier version. So let's talk about this one. 4 3/8 closed. This has a really hard detent. I'm not going to lie. Even Alex admits this is a hard detent. It leaves an indent in my thumb. So for that reason, I'm not a huge fan of this specific one. And if it was mine, I would look at lightening it up somehow. But there you go. You get used to it, and it's really not that bad. 7 3/4 overall, 3 1/4 inch blade with a 3.19 cutting edge. It is a ball-bach Damascus in a Ferris pattern, I think is what they call that. We'll zoom in on it. Blade thickness is 0.119. Overall thickness is 0.425, minus the clip. Weighs in at 3.8 ounces and runs on phosphor bronze washers. Okay, it fires out like nobody's business, and you can shake it shut-ish. Sometimes, what's weird about it? Sometimes it shakes right shut, and other times it doesn't. And I think that might be where I'm holding it. Because the lock bar, because it's such a hard detent, you're really susceptible to pressure on the lock bar for both opening it and closing it. Well, you got to have some pressure on there to open it, because you can't just hold it from the back side, or else it's going to fly out of your hand. So you got to put a little pressure here on the clip. That was easier because you got to really try to keep your fingers off. So yeah, it's just one of those ones that's pretty sensitive. So as you learn that and you position your fingers differently, it gets easier. Plus, you kind of get used to a particular detent. Some knives you can go just kind of straight up with. Other knives you have to go more just to the side. Some knives you have to kind of go up at an angle. So you'll kind of just learn with this knife how to do it, and I can't really tell you exactly what works. It's just a feel thing. Okay? So let's zoom in. We got a cool Damascus pattern. Again, as I've talked about many a time, I love Damascus. What's cool about this is you have kind of you have a see-through pivot. I am sure that other people have used that. I don't know that I have ever had one in that had that through hole design on a pivot or the back screw. Nice Damascus inlays that are super flush. Yeah, they're very flush in there and work really well. 3D milled pocket clip, which is the first model that they have ever used, Real Steel has ever used on this Phasma. All the other ones have kind of a bent steel clip. But very cool. It has internal milling to reduce the weight. See if I can get in there to show some of that. And then you can see it has a lock bar insert. The serial number stamped there on the blade, which is always cool when if you're gonna number something, you got to put the number on the blade, on the watch, whatever it is, so that you can prove over time that yeah, it is what it is, because somebody could take this knife, put it in a different box and things like that. And if it's only marked on the box, well, then that doesn't really help you a lot. And you should say how many you're making. If you're going to number them, you should kind of say, well, this is number 3 of 1,000, 3 of 100, because it matters, right? For us collectors, if it's number 3 of 10,000, big deal. If it's number 3 of 10, okay, that's a big deal. 3 of 100, now we're talking. So, and they may have said on the website, and I missed it, but I did not see how many of these ones they were making. So, do a couple of quick size comparisons. With the Sharpie, of course, the Delica, because that's just how we roll here. And then we mix it up a little bit. The Hellraiser P-Series, also made in overseas. Okay, Real Steel is overseas in China. Kubi KB237, also made overseas, and about the same exact length. ZT 0450, a little bit smaller. The Phasma is a great EDC size, and here it is next to the Demko AD20, just to kind of give some relevant size comparisons. I think it's a cool knife. It feels really good in the hand. Not really a finger choil to speak of, which is fine. Because how often am I really choking up on things? The jimping is really good on the back. You have a great grip here. The pocket clip disappears in your hand. Overall, I think this is really a great knife other than the heavy detent. And again, that can be a personal, subjective thing also, right? Some people might prefer a very hard detent. It's kind of like a flipper tab. So like this, the Hellraiser is super light. Okay, this particular model, this particular one. My other one has a super crisp detent. This one is super soft. I don't think there's any way I could roll this out. Yeah, maybe, but I'm taking chances there of cutting open my thumb. So yeah, it's really going to be a deploy one. This you could roll out, but I don't typically do that anyway. But again, the flipper tab or the thumb stud is very subjective. Okay, some people like a harder detent and some people like a softer detent. So it's all in what you prefer. I prefer a medium detent, if there's such a thing. Lighter than this, for sure, but heavier than the Hellraiser over here. Okay, just because I like it in the middle. And I don't like to have to figure out where to put my fingers to open up a knife, whether it's a flipper tab or a thumb. That's one reason why I kind of prefer liner locks. To be really transparent here, this Kubi, it doesn't matter. It's a liner lock. I can squeeze this thing as hard as I want, and it's going to fire exactly the same every time. So that's the beauty of a liner lock, is it's not even dependent on where you put your fingers or the pressure on the lock bar. So I do prefer that. So there you go, guys. The Real Steel Phasma. Let me know what you think on kind of higher end production knives. Is it cool to have the fancy version, or would you rather just have the beater model? Let me know. Thanks, guys. I greatly appreciate it. Have a great day.